Awake, awaiting in love for the Lord who came, who comes, and who will come again. On this first Sunday of Advent, year B, dear friends, we begin a new liturgical year celebrating every joyful, sorrowful, and glorious event of Christ Himself present in His own church with the new set of gospel readings for Sundays taken from St. Mark, year B. Advent is the first season in the liturgical calendar with 4 Sundays that prepare us for Christmas. It prepares us for the incarnation of a God who takes on our human flesh. And the liturgical color is violet, since Advent season has a penitential character, but also has an element of hope and expectation and joy in the Lord's joyful coming on Christmas. We usually dedicate enough time whenever it comes to preparing any small or especially major event in our lives, like when we have to prepare for birthdays, for weddings or ordinations. We use a lot of time to prepare. Or when we expect a visitor, we prepare ourselves, we look at the time, we clean up everywhere. Advent, dear friends, reminds us to prepare for Jesus' coming, more than one who prepares for a visitor, to really clean up everything in us, but also outside us, to clean up and prepare for Jesus' coming. Advent is a preparation for the appointed time of Christmas when God, with His birth into the world and in His infinite love and mercy for His people, chose to become human like us. Advent help us to prepare for this dwelling of God among us, one with us. Advent helps us to prepare for God who came to share in our strength and weaknesses, sharing in our joys and sorrows. In order to have a fruitful celebration of Christmas, God with us, Emmanuel, Christmas, we need to constantly prepare our lives, our hearts, as we celebrate a God with us, within us, and among His people. What is it that in my life, when I look at it in my life, I wish to remove out so that I can breathe? Something which is blocking me from breathing, from living my Christian, my human life to the full. We prepare as we celebrate, and we celebrate as we prepare for Christ's coming every moment in our lives. That's Advent, where we prepare as we celebrate. So the preparation is still part of the celebration. We prepare as we celebrate, and we celebrate as we prepare for Christ who comes even every moment, even right now. Advent comes from the Latin word adventus, arrival, from advenire, ad, which means to, venire, come. So it means to come. Advent is to come. But the one who is to come is not an ordinary person like you and me, but the only Son of God made man, Jesus Christ Himself, is the one to come to meet His people, to reconcile with His people, to give new life to His people, to give freshness to these people. In the Advent, we celebrate 3 comings of Jesus. The first coming of Jesus took place on the first Christmas night in the Bethlehem, when the powerful God chose to be born as a small and helpless infant in the person of Jesus Christ. That's the first coming, the birth of Jesus at Bethlehem on Christmas Day. And out of love for us, Jesus offered His life on the cross, shedding His blood and water, symbols of life, so as to save us and to give us new life with His resurrection. After His mission on earth, Jesus went back to His Father, our Father in heaven. This is Jesus' coming in history. His first coming is at Bethlehem, and it's at Christmas. Jesus coming in history. God who was far away, He comes close to His people with Christmas. This is the beginning, the Christmas which begins with the preparation of Advent. So Advent leads us to this beautiful moment of a God who is born at Christmas. And now we await Jesus' second coming. This is the second coming of Jesus. We now await Jesus' second coming at the end of time to judge the living and the dead. Jesus will come to judge the living and the dead. He will surely come, but nobody knows the exact day and hour. So with joyful hope and expectation, we await His second coming, parousia. He will come not anymore as a baby, as it was at Christmas when He was born, but as an eternal King and judge with all the powers to judge as well. This is the much awaited day of salvation and victory for the followers who have been faithful. For those who have been faithful, this is the day of victory. For those who are truly who truly loved God and others, for those who spoke and who act and who live like Jesus, this is the day of salvation and victory. For those who are compassionate, merciful, forgiving, those who are kind, peaceful, justice, generous, those who are caring and loving towards others, this second coming of Jesus at the end of the end of time is the salvation and victory for them, and they will just be smiling, welcoming Jesus, because they have been good to themselves and to others. But for those who are hard-hearted, whose hearts are like a stone, those who reject God and others, and those who stubbornly or insistently live in their sinful situations of injustice, wars, hatred, those who are always angry, those who revenge, who are unforgiving, those who are proud and full of themselves, those who are immoral, that judgment day of Jesus' second coming is their damnation, because they do not live and love as God lives and loves his children. And the third coming, dear friends, of Jesus is between his first coming and the second coming. Since Jesus is God, and so he's eternal, Alpha and Omega, without beginning or end, and so he's not limited to space and time, Jesus is always coming to us. This is the third coming, that Jesus is always coming to us at every moment of our lives, even here and right now. In whatever we are and in whatever we do, Jesus is coming even here and now. Our God is true to his promise, as noted in Matthew chapter 28, verses 20. I am with you always until the end of time. Always I am with you until the end of time, says the Lord. Dear friends, do we realize and enjoy the presence of the Lord in our lives, even in good and challenging times? Help us, Lord, to feel your abiding presence with us always. God's Spirit dwells with us, in us, around us, and through us always when we allow him to operate in us. But in a more concrete way, God comes to us, he continues coming to us in the sacraments of the church, which he established, because it is God who baptizes when the minister baptizes. It is God who speaks to us when the scriptures are proclaimed by a reader. It is God who forgives and reconciles when the penitent humbly asks for forgiveness from God through the mediation of a priest, thanks to the powers entrusted to the disciples and to their successors, as noted in John chapter 20, verses 23, when the Lord says, "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you." And with that, he, Jesus, breathed on them. He gave life. He breathed on them, gave power. He breathed on them and said, "Receive the Holy Spirit." If you forgive anyone's sins, their sins are forgiven. So he gives the disciples the powers to forgive. If you do not forgive them, they are not forgiven. But most especially, dear friends, most especially and in a real way, our God comes to us, continues to come to us and to feed us and to nourish us with his own body and blood in the Eucharist. This is the sacrament of his real presence, dear friends, where we are really nourished by his word and fed on his own body and blood and transform and heal our lives. The body and blood that transforms and heals our lives every time we humbly empty ourselves and let God fill us with his love, with his spirit and his blessings. If we let ourselves docile to his spirit. Jesus comes to us every time, every moment, every day, everywhere. Do we open our minds and hearts to hear and to see and to experience Christ coming now and his active and healing presence now in his word of God that we listen to? He's coming now in the prayers when we raise our minds and hearts to God. He's coming now in the silence of our hearts and in every activity. He's coming now and his active healing presence in the poor. Do we really experience this Christ coming now in the poor, in the abandoned, in the needy, in those who suffer, in the sick, in the prisoners, in every person as he or she is created in the image and likeness of God? Do we experience Christ coming now, dear friends, now in the sacraments, especially reconciliation and the Eucharist, every moment and in every circumstance of our lives, good or bad? Let us always remember, dear friends, that our advent or our preparations for the second coming of our Lord at the end of time begins right where I am, here and now. How do we present ourselves to God with our body, mind, and heart when we come to pray and celebrate the Eucharist, for instance? How do we regard the celebration of the other sacraments? How do we find a good time to pray and be with the Lord every moment as we work and raise our minds and hearts to Him in prayer, narrating to God everything in us, happening around us and about others, especially those who suffer? Or we ignore and rush our prayers, looking at the prayers more as a duty, as something heavy to fulfill, than as an opportunity of a fresh, personal, enriching encounter with Jesus and with each other. Jesus comes to us in the persons who are needy. Do we see Jesus in the poor, the prisoners, the sick, the jobless, the persecuted and abandoned? How generous are we towards them? Or how sincere is our compassion, love, and care for them? Jesus comes to us in the events and the signs of the times. Can we honestly say that we can feel the presence of Jesus in the day-to-day events of our lives? Even the small events of life, like the spontaneous, simple, ordinary moments of joy lived out within the family, within the community, at work, with friends, in spite of the struggles and challenges that each one of us goes through. The gospel on this first Sunday of Advent from Mark chapter 13, verses 33 to 37 is clearly an exhortation and encouragement on vigilance or watchfulness, to be awake or to be alert. Yes, Jesus will come again to judge us based on whether we have loved or not. He will judge us for the love we experienced and shared with others, or for the moments we ignored others, especially the needy. Jesus will judge us for the good that we did, or for the good we did not do to others, for the bad we did. Because whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it for me, says the Lord in Matthew chapter 25, verses 40. But nobody knows about the exact time and the day of Jesus' second coming. Hence, we need to be constantly vigilant by loving God and others with our good words, actions, and our good moral Christian conduct of life every moment. In bringing home this message, Jesus uses the image of a man traveling abroad and leaves behind his servants to take care of the house. Firstly, the man traveling abroad is the image of Jesus. He lived with us 33 years, died, resurrected, ascended, and left. He traveled abroad. He left us with his Holy Spirit that continues to teach us everything. He will come back any time we do not expect. Dear friends, if Jesus comes back today, here and now, are we ready to receive Him in our hearts with our weapon of love? Secondly, the servants left behind, those who are left behind to take care of the house, are the followers of Jesus, you and me, all of us, young and old, educated or not, rich or poor. Jesus gave each one of us our obligation, responsibilities, and duties, small or big, to fulfill in His house, in the church, and in the world. And we are expected to put our hearts into whatever we do and whatever we are by doing our good job well, generously, and faithfully for our good, for the good of others, and for the glory of God. We should never be selfish, egoistic, and irresponsible in the fulfillment of our roles of service to one another. For at any time, without warning, the Lord comes, and He will come. It would be such a great misfortune if He finds us not doing our duties with love. May God not come suddenly and find us sleeping or in an immoral or disorganized state of conscience. Thirdly, the relationship between the master and the servants, Jesus and us, is based on trust. Despite our sins, weaknesses, and unworthiness, Jesus trusts us and entrusts us with responsibilities of taking good care of creation, especially of every human person created in the image and likeness of God. Jesus entrusts to us His many gifts and talents, and He gives us the responsibility to use them well in order to make the world a better place for everyone to live in. He hopes that we become the good servants who are faithful even in the small responsibilities. The time of harvest will surely come, and we will render an account of what we did or what we did not do with whatever Jesus entrusted to us. That is exactly why our preparation for the second coming of our Lord depends totally on how we fulfill our duties as good mothers and fathers at home, good wives and husbands in the family, good parents towards the children at home, good employers and to the employees at work, good companions at school, good leaders of a region or a country, and as good Christians and honest citizens who are generous, faithful, and trustworthy every moment. Jesus' second coming is not far away or distant event in the future. Rather, it is something we must be ready to embrace anytime, even here and now. The time of preparation, vigilance, living with Christ and with each other is right now. The Lord may come now, today, tonight, or tomorrow. But for us, as long as we are prepared all the time, loving God and each other, it does not matter when the Lord will come again, because we are ever prepared and at peace with ourselves and with others and with God. As we await for the Lord's coming, who comes every moment, we pray that God may come. Maranatha.